Hey guys, Marnat here, and we got a bit of an announcement. Yes, we have, but not necessarily an exciting one, though I personally find it very exciting. After looking around the WarioNet trying to find the Glitchnet a new reality, I feel like it's only just dawned on us how big it actually is. Yeah, because it's an entire multiverse. And we're kind of just ignoring it. Morknight will still be doing his updates on the Singing Saviours, and I'll still be doing the Glory region and Smash Bros videos and fictional characters as gym leaders. Morknights will stay just as they are, however mine will be put to the side as we go and explore the WarioNet and make videos on the cool universes we find. But first, let's have a look at Morknight's universe and his most recent discovery. Take it away. Right, we cover some Mario and MSM fused. That's kind of just because of the names of the creatures we find. The Bassanorous brothers named them, but they're big tech nerds, so So, our team had been getting reports of monsters flying off the islands and crashing in the oily desert. It's covered in predators, and as many of you know, I think I've told stories of the oily desert before, it is the most dangerous place in the vicinity of the Colossal. So, as the harsh winds blew, we decided that we wouldn't send the entire team because we thought that it wasn't that necessary, unlike that Mecha Bowser thing. That thing was harsh. Anyway, they sent me, August, who could find the monsters with their X-ray, Bassanorous brothers, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to introduce Meka Knight to the group, since we're friends, but I don't think he's even met the Singing Saviours before. We even had one report that a Blow-It had crashed, and that's bad because Blow-Its can't move very much. But the monsters were very adaptive. We knew they could evolve to the caves, but we still think, since they're guards, they should have a nicer, less harsh place to live. And perhaps one where they could be safer, so we were trying to go through and get them back to... If we can't get them to the Colossal, just a different habitat they could be safer in. This is the Clacker Bones, named after dry bones, and I can sort of see it, at least as a shell. So we arrived at a giant tunnel going through a cliff. Must have been the size of Godzilla or something. I know that's not real, that's just a movie, and it's hard to explain. In fact, probably one Godzilla more King Kong. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Let's continue. So we saw it and we went straight in. I was sure I'd seen some stuff I'd located here a while ago, but we mainly just saw a bunch of crabs and spiders crawling across the charred ground. And then as we went lower, crystals covered the walls. This was basically a crater, this massive tunnel, so we don't know how all of these have been flung down when the Blow-It crashed. At least, we thought it was the Blow-It. It was, but we weren't sure at the time. We saw a lump of charred ground that was way too smooth for the tunnel. Everything was rugged from the crash, like I said, and a bit burnt. Meka Knight tapped it, and with their hammer, and it leapt up. It was the Clacker Bones, and it went to hide behind some crystals. We approached it, and then it turned back around, now with flames in its empty eye sockets. August fell back into the pit in fear. Now, we don't know how that happened, but honestly, one of the most surprising thing we got there. Just a pit in the bottom of a tunnel a Blow-It had gone through with a bunch of adapted creatures and fire and burnt and crystals. Yeah, it's not the craziest thing. We went together and continued down, stepping on the flat crystals to try not to fall. Eventually, it got steeper, and if we were to keep going down the normal path, then we might as well have been jumping straight down. And so we had to enter the many tunnels surrounding it, which, like I said, is already weird, and we hadn't discovered all the reasons why this has been happening. We're still trying. And we saw this creature using bones and fiery clacks to create more of itself. We thought that was fine, because, it's just repopulating the place. Next up, we got the wiggling Barskler. So we snuck past the clacker bones and hid behind a giant crystal. We had prepared what Mekk-a-Knight had made, since he is the tech-savvy guy of the team, even if he's not really been on the team since until this point. So he had made discs, so when we put on creatures, we can teleport them wherever we want, as long as we place another one and connect him. We thought about it, but we thought the clacker bones just better stay there. I think we thought it would work better, and it already started repopulating the place. And then we suddenly heard a rush of feet and big crashes and stomps. And then rocks were crumbling from the wall. We carefully tried to get up, as if not to scare the bone-clacking clacker bones. Sorry, I forgot about that. We looked toward a thin crystal wall we could sort of see through, and then the wiggling Barskler burst out. It was about my height, and that one in length. That was in height. And so we all spontaneously jumped on its back, as if we all shared a hive mind on what to do. It ran through, tunneling through rock. We had to get closer and closer to its fur, because it was creating these tunnels. We think it was the one that created all of them, because it could tunnel through stone like it was swimming through water. We gripped its fur, and it burst through another wall. We had to dodge flying debris and crystals. And a lot of the debris I don't even think was rocks. We're going to have to go back and check that. As it became angrier, its eyes became coated over in pure orange, and its pupils weren't seen anymore. Its skin became redder, and its fur seemed to shift yellowy. A bit like how the Wigglers get angry in Mario. The beast ran through the tunnels, and we knew we had to get off eventually, otherwise one of us were going to get hit by a rock. Mekk-a-Knight went to grab a disc, but he almost fell off. His arm smashed against a crystal, ripping half his arm off. Don't worry, I'm fine. Yeah. Now, Boom Bomb stuck out his tail to help him, and Mekk-a-Knight only just gripped on. Yeah, he could tell I was barely gripping on, so he told Dunley to slide back and pull both of us up. August slid forward and told me she'd seen Blowit through a wall using her X-ray. Knowing where it was, I looked back to check if everyone was safe, and looked back to check that Mekk-a-Knight had put a disc on it. And then, quickly as I could, I grabbed the thing's antlers and made it go through a different crystal wall, and then I leapt off, shouting at the others to do the same. Next up, we had this monstrosity of a being. I hate its existence. I hate that it exists. It should just go into a fire and burn to death. Anyway, this is the Toadarel. It's a Cantorel that had evolved. We fell onto a diagonal charred rock. Dunley instantly saw this guy in the corner. And let me tell you, this is really what gave him the idea to name them all after Mario enemies, because this looks a lot like Toad. It looked really cute and unassuming. So, Mekk-a-Knight just went up with a disc, thinking he could easily get out. But then 4 metal tendrils shot out from its back, hit me in the head, and I fell over. However, I couldn't help but feel a bit sorry. I mean, the smaller head with the blue spots sort of looked a bit scared as it happened. And so I kinda didn't want to fight back, but he knew he had to. Boom Bomb swung his tail at one of the tendrils. He flew around it, and then he grabbed Mekk-a-Knight, and he managed to get them back, but he was still stunned and couldn't properly walk. Todaro prepared to continue fighting, but Doom Bomb chucked a small fireball at its stomach. It didn't kill it, but it gave us plenty of time to run past and chuck a disc at it. We ran past, and we hit the ground, realizing we got to the very bottom of this massive tunnel and crater. And we looked up, and then we found the Blow-It. This is the Bowser. Yeah, named after Bowser. This one also makes sense. It was covered in mud and began to breathe in. We thought it was just playing its song like it would on the islands. But then its sharp horns, they didn't glow regular colours. They began to grow like red and orange. And then it breathed out a burst of flames. We leapt away and they instantly flew onto its head. It was about 2 times my size. I tried to hold one of the horns, but I could tell it was already burning just from lighting it once, and I fell off. My arm splattered with blood, and everyone else bruised and battered. Everyone else was panicking. It spat fire, and then debris began to fall on the ceiling, and we thought the entire thing might collapse. I saw a disc fly to the floor. Mekk-a-Knight had dropped it when a crystal hit his back and dented his armor, sending him flying into a brick. I could tell everyone was either in pain against a rock or they were tired, and if they had to do any more dodging, they probably wouldn't make it. So I jumped back and grabbed it and chucked it at this thing's head. We could have climbed back out, but we actually all had our own discs attached to ourselves ready. So we went out, took some time to rest and heal up, slap some ice packs on it, because that was pretty stressful, though not one of our most deadly missions. And we then decided we were going to try and find these guys' new habitats. Like we said, we're going to keep the bone clacking bone thing. I can't remember that guy's name. I don't know why. Clacking bone guy. Bone person. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. So, I decided to send a Wiggle and Bosker to a huge forest, that might as well have been a jungle where everything was basically enlarged. And then we took the Bowser to a cliffside. We thought it could survive on its own in the early desert, and it seemed pretty used to it. But we put it on a cliffside away from most of the predators. And then the demon Todorel, the little smug little face with his... Anyway, we decided to shove that one in captivity so we could study what makes the monster so adaptive. I wanted to just end it, because that thing really did surprise me, and it really was annoying. But I can see why they didn't. Anyway, that's been one story, and you better get ready for a bunch more from Dimensions out in the Warrior